So I thought in this video I would go for a walk with a watch, and I gravitated towards the MRG black thin red line. And because we have a sunny day today, even though it's cold here, there is this, the sun is over us, and I think you can probably see the red line there. And I know this is very geeky, and you know, not everybody will, they will probably think I'm crazy, but look at that. It's and the gold text, and the MRG logo in gold, and I don't know, it just provides that visual interest that is really so interesting. And of course the gold lock button there. I don't actually use that lock button, and I don't really know why. Perhaps because I think I don't need it, but I also thought in this direct sunshine, the colour of the black titanium DLC coated colour might come through, but I imagine it's coming through as a dark colour. But it is actually you know, a dark grey gunmetal. But on camera, I suppose it is looking like it might be black. And of course, it contrasts so well with the thin red line and the gold detail. And if I had a hand-free, I would take it off. And in fact, why don't I do that? 1 second. So I've just put the camera down, and I've got it off the ground. So I can take it off like this, and I wanted to show you again the gold backplate, and you can probably see the sunshine reflecting off it there, and I suppose it gives you, you know, really good sight of the detail there. In fact, if I just connect that, and if I go this way, there we go. If I bias the camera angle this way, you'll see the gold backplate. There we go, look at that. And I know it's a bit geeky, and you know, why are G-Shock fans, you know, why do we like this stuff? And I suppose we like it because we know it's there, and you know, we know it's you know, it's a G-Shock, it's a full metal G-Shock square. And I know this is the MRG version, the titanium, so it costs an absolute fortune. I am aware of that. But what I do consider is that even though this is you know, an expensive watch, if you compare it to some other mechanical watches, especially the Swiss stuff, and you know, all the usual people like Omega, Rolex, and also the, you know, Japanese Seikos, and the Prospect line, and all, of course, the Grand Seikos. You know, this then becomes you know, comparable and perhaps cheaper. And it was at that point that I thought to myself, hold on, I'm purchasing a wristwatch. I use it to, you know, time my eggs and cooking, and I, you know, wear the thing. You know, I wear my watches, and I use them. And the stopwatch function and the alarm function on this, I use all the time, and also the world time. And I have it Hong Kong at the moment, and the alarm function, stopwatch, and then the timer. I would say the stopwatch and timer, you know, I almost use once a day. You know, so I grab a G-Shock, especially when I'm cooking, or, you know, when I want to time something. You know, I really do. And also, when I have the B5000G on the rubber bracelet, I actually go running with that. And I've also done that with the silver full metal. I had the rubber bracelet on there. Anyway, I'm going to spin this around in a moment, and actually I'm going to put it back on the wrist, and then I will stop, and then flick over to me chatting. And if I don't, I'll end the video here. But if after this I chat, it's because I've decided to bore you all senseless with a video about the watch industry. So I'll say goodbye for now, and if you don't see anything else, today it's just the MRG in the sunshine, but if I continue talking, you know what's happened. Okay. So just quickly, I shot a video of the MRG in the sunshine because the weather looked good. And then after it, I did a video piece with me to camera, and I chat a bit more about digital watches, mechanical watches and smart watches. And it goes on for a few minutes, and that might bore some people. So if it does, you can switch off now, because that video will follow this. Anyway, hope you're all well, and speak again soon. So hello again, and I don't know how this will come through. I know my hair's a mess, and I'm in the country and it's very cold here, and today we have the sunshine, and I thought to myself, because this sunshine won't last very long, it's probably a very good opportunity for me to get outside. And I wanted to chat more about wristwatches and the wristwatch industry. Actually, I can see myself in the viewfinder here, and I probably look terrible, so I do apologise. And also, the shower isn't really working, so the water's very cold. So getting in the shower can be frightening. So this is why I look crazy. But okay, I wanted to chat about the watch industry, in particular. Mechanical watches, smart watches, and digital watches. And I think I've mentioned in other videos, I've probably mentioned, and I've shown that these three types are the hot favourites, and you know, we seem to like. Well, actually, you know, some watch collectors like, you know, a specific style, like you know, the Rolex Sports. Other collectors are really mechanical watches only. I have been watching recently some YouTube channels on digital watches, vintage digital watches, and they are super. It's so interesting. And that's where a part of me shares a lot of interest. I really like the 70s LCD style of watches. And I think I've mentioned on some other videos that I'm actually trying to get one designed and go through the possibility of getting the thing made. But I've hit a roadblock at the moment, and that is having the electronics designed, because I wanted to create my own movement, and essentially I wanted to take the 1970s look and feel and stick today's technology onto it. So you can imagine it's you know, it has a monocolor display, although that could change. But I really wanted that 1970s aesthetic built into a digital watch today. And of course, LCD displays have got much better. And but I wanted to also for it to not be a smartwatch. And you know, quite specifically, I don't want it to be a smartwatch because there are some limiting factors there, and perhaps I've mentioned that on another video. The main limiting factor being, and it's sort of unfortunate that these days when you have a smartwatch, you sort of expect it to be outdated in 5 minutes, and you know, that does seem you know, a real shame. And you know, if I'm making a watch, I certainly don't want it to be outdated within 2 or 3 years. You know, I really admire G-Shock's longevity. Recently, I've been looking at some Frogman and some old G-Shocks, and they're 15 years old, and you know, they work absolutely fine. I'm interested to know if the solar powered Frogman are fine, and everything I've looked at so far works perfectly, and these are many years old. And you know, I've wanted to tackle this and actually build a business around longevity of these digital watches also. And so the design of the module, I want it to be something that's going to last many, many years and also be cool and on trend for many, many years. And I was looking at solar recharge and also Bluetooth. And you know, Bluetooth is going to be with us for a while, for a long time. But then I went back to not having Bluetooth and perhaps not even having solar, but relying on a large battery that could last at least 10 years. And going down the route of all you ever have to do is replace a battery, and if you hammer the thing, it'll last 5 years. But if it's worn normally, it'll last 10 years, and at some point you will have to change the battery, but that's it. Everything else is going to work fine. So that's been very interesting, and I'm still at that point. But I wanted to talk about do people generally only like digital watches, or do they only like mechanical watches or smart watches? Now, I have 3, and so I've used my own habits and my own likes and dislikes as a case point, as a reference point. And for example, today I put on the G-Shock once again, and if I'm honest, these days I would say 9 times out of 10 I go for the G-Shock, and this is over the Apple Watch and over a mechanical watch. And I do find that interesting, and it might be my age, but I think it's more centered around the usability. When you pick up a G-Shock, you know, the thing is accurate, the time is there. In fact, these days all the G-Shocks have the sleep feature, so the screen goes off to save power. So you pick the watch up and the screen's blank, and then the minute it identifies that you've lifted it up and there's light, you know, the screen comes on. It's kind of cool. But also the multi-band 6 function, if it hasn't picked up the time that way, it's Bluetooth connected to your smartphone, or if it hasn't done any of that, it's pretty accurate anyway. And the one thing I like is you've just had a shower, or you're going out, or you're doing something, and without thinking you gravitate towards something. And I'm normally busy in a rush, so I pick up the G-Shock, and it's happening every time. And you know, especially if I want to look smart, I pick up the silver MRG square, and or you know, the mood takes me, if I'm wearing a black t-shirt, I always pick up one of the black GMWs. But it always seems to be the squares. And now I have had access to, and I have had a few Frogmen, and the Frogmen are, you know, flamboyant and a little bit out there. So I've tended to only grab those when I've been more sporty or on holiday, or the context has been a crazy Frogman. But these days, you know, going shopping or a business meeting or something normal, you know, it's the G-Shock square that I seem to go for all the time. It always out-trumps the Apple Watch at the moment. Maybe it's a phase I'm going through or something, but I do find it so interesting that I'm not picking up the Apple Watch, even though I do like it and it's a great product. I'm picking up the G-Shock every time. And the mechanical watch is more of a special event because, you know, I'll put them on sometimes and I don't even set the time because I think I'm only going to have it on my wrist for an hour or two. And then the moment I look at it and forget that I haven't set the time, and I look at the time, then I make a mental note that it's not the correct time. I look at the phone and I get the time that way. And it's around that time that I then think, okay, when I'm next upstairs, I'm going to take off the mechanical watch and throw on a G-Shock, and it happens all the time. And you know, if I'm really busy or fixing something, or I don't want something around my wrist, you know, of course I use the phone's time. But one thing for sure is that the wristwatch is something that I'm pretty sure is not going away anytime soon. For a lot of people, it's a piece of jewelry, it's a piece of clothing, it fits your attire, It's a statement piece, it's a thing of interest, it has function, especially that smartwatches, in fact they all have function because they all tell the time, and most of mine have alarms on them. And you know, so it's very interesting, and so I'm pretty sure that wristwatches are here to stay. And I've been trying to think, you know, what will the future bring? We're going to have mechanical watches, we're going to have smartwatches, and you can bet your bottom dollar G-Shock have got years of new designs that are going to come out, and a fabulous customer base. But in actual fact, Swiss mechanical, Japanese mechanical watches, they have a fabulous customer base. And the Apple Watch is only going to be stronger, I imagine. Again, it's great for the enthusiast or the hobbyist, or just the person that likes purchasing these things. You know, they're great objects really, although they are expensive, and some of them are very expensive. But we can see, you know, over the year, you know, the watch industry is huge, and there's so much to choose from. It makes it very interesting if you have interest in this industry and interest in these products. You know, there is so much to grab your attention. And you know, I have looked at where are all the you know, what do collectors and fans and people that buy watches, what is it that they go for? And right now I'm still at the point where it seems that what's great about the watch industry is that there is something for everyone and every price point, the whole range. There's something there for everyone, and that's a great thing. Because I was thinking, if you really only wanted Richard Mille, you'd have to be a billionaire. It would be ridiculous. So it's a good job that you know, we don't want these things. They're too expensive. But G-Shocks are certainly, you know, more affordable. The Apple Watch is actually, it is quite expensive, but I suppose is more in range. You know, there are collectors out there that only buy Rolex, you know, so straight, you know, you're getting very expensive here. You need a lot of disposable income really, unless it's your thing and you sacrifice buying cars or something else. So there is a relationship to income, I suppose, and I don't think that really does stop people collecting or stop people having interest, because there is a brand name, there are watches out there that are so interesting, they are collectible, and they have a collector base, they have a customer base, people will buy them. So watches are definitely here to stay. The potential, you know, it's still very good. There is still a lot of distance to go, especially with smartwatches. I can see that there are times that I wear a smartwatch and I do not take my smartphone with me because the watch can do everything. So, you know, your wristwatch, you know, well, it's already happened. You can survive without an iPhone and just have the watch on your wrist. But saying that, you know, I'm going back to the G-Shock. But that's the, you know, perhaps that's the mood I'm in, and it's more of a, you know, personality thing as well. But I am interested to know more about people who only collect mechanical or smartwatches or digital watches like the Casio G-Shock or Casios. I do find that interesting, although I have found that people collect everything depending on their disposable income, depending on actually how much money they do have to spend on these things. So that is very interesting. Anyway, I feel like I've bored everyone, and I do apologize. I will, yeah, hopefully these videos will be more interesting. Anyway, I hope everyone's awake, and hope everyone's well, and speak again soon.